And it's not sexy, it's not attractive, it's not endearing to be that, to impose on people like that. It's something I started doing back when I was still struggling deeply with burnout, and I realized that just going in nature helped me a lot. It's something you can do. I recommend it if you're struggling with your mental health, if you're struggling with burnout or the effects of burnout, if you're struggling with, especially that feeling of being unsafe, that that hypervigilance that we struggle with, where it's always like you're unsafe, where especially if you deal with anxiety, and maybe I will talk about anxiety in a future video, but if you struggle with all of that, one of the things you can do is go out in nature. Or, personally, one of the things I used to do is I would go to a park. There was a particular park that was my favorite. I had two, but one of them was really my favorite. And it was a park by a lake. And I would not, get on the water. I would not get on a boat or anything. I had a special spot right by the water where I could see the water very closely. I could see the water lilies on the water. I could see the color of the sky, the blue sky reflected in the water, which was very majestic. I could smell the breeze off of the water. It was the most beautiful thing. And I was under the shade of a tree because there was a tree close to. That was my favorite spot in the whole like park. And I would like go there at least once a week, sometimes more frequently than that. In the mornings on Sundays, people would not really be there, or during the week, and I would be able to spend time by myself and just, I would not be on my phone, I would not be reading any book, I would not be doing anything. I would just lie down there on my picnic mat. I would have myself a little picnic and I would just watch the water, and I would watch ducks playing by the water. I would watch this water swans, I would watch birds, swooping down and stealing like fish and like tadpoles and all of that. And I would just breathe. And I believe strongly that was one of the things, that was one of the practices that really helped in healing me. I still believe strongly today. That was one of the practices that helped heal me. I don't do it as much now. I don't feel the need for it. But I still enjoy it whenever I'm able to. I still enjoy it deeply. And again, I recommend it highly. And one of the things, one of my pet peeves, I don't think I've ever mentioned on this channel, maybe I have, but one of my pet peeves is when I take myself out to the park, okay? Having my beautiful alone time, and a human being would come and talk about, and I get that, okay? I'm not even saying there's anything wrong with being at a park or being in public wherever and then seeing somebody and want to have a conversation with them. There's really nothing wrong with that. But if the person has made it clear to you that they prefer to be alone, then you should respect that. You should respect that their preference and just leave them alone, right? And then they would come and have all this and say, oh, they saw you by yourself and it's not a good thing for you to be alone. You're lonely, so they're trying to keep you company. And then you tell them, oh no, it's all right. You're alone. You're not lonely. You're alone, but it's deliberate. Because if you did not want to be alone, you would have come with people. So you're there by yourself. And they would not be able to take a hint. They would say, oh, you should create space for them. Like there was one particular person. I made it clear to this person that I was fine. I wasn't lonely. I was by myself. And I deliberately did not come with anyone. I deliberately did not, join any party or whatever. I came there by myself for a reason. And my mat, my picnic mat was small for a reason. And this person was like, oh, I should create space for them. Like some people, the nerve, some people they just have audacity. And it's not sexy, it's not attractive, it's not endearing to be that, to impose on people like that, and to be that forceful when dealing with people, especially somebody you don't know, somebody you've only just met. It's really, there's nothing endearing about it, especially men. I'm sorry. If you're somebody like that, or if you know somebody like that, tell them there's nothing endearing about it. And I wanted to be a bit circumspect about it. So when they asked that I should shift, so when he asked that I should allow him sit, I think I said something like, oh, I would allow you sit, but there really is no space on my mat. As you can see, it's a very small mat. It was a very small mat. And then he said something like, oh, that's just your, that's just the way you see things. Because if you actually want to allow me sit, then you would create space for me, etc., etc., etc. And I was in that space where I did not know how to say. Now, if somebody tried that with me, I would tell them, I genuinely don't want to create space for you. I don't. I actually don't. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I would prefer to be by myself. Okay, thank you. I would prefer to be by myself if you don't mind. But thank you for wanting to keep me company. Like, I would say that. Back then, I was in a very vulnerable state. I was still trying to heal. I was in a state. Okay, I was going through something. So when he said that, I was still in my life of being a yes person, of being unable to say no. So as he said that, I already felt attacked. So obviously, when I felt attacked, my go-to response was to accede, to just pull back and let him have his way. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And then I created space for him, and I inconvenienced myself by sitting up, even though I was lying down the entire time. And he sat down there and he talked and talked and talked and talked and sapped my little energy that I had already acquired by being there before he left. Something you can do, I recommend it.